having high cortisol can be a problem, but let's talk about when it's a problem and when it's not a problem. And to do that, we have to understand the difference between chronic high levels of cortisol and acute high levels of cortisol. Now, a great way to understand the difference between chronic and acute is to kind of think about scratching your arm. The scratch goes away, no issues with your arm whatsoever, no problems. But what if you were to get your arm like this and you were to sit and scratch it like this and keep scratching it to the point where you're scratching your arm nonstop for days at a time? What would happen? Well, obviously you start to wear it down and you start to get some sores on your arm. And if you kept going at it and you start bleeding everywhere, and then eventually you probably be down to the bone because you start rubbing all the tissue off. Even if you weren't pushing really hard, but you just had constant scratching, eventually you're going to have some problems. So acute scratching, no problems whatsoever. Chronic scratching on your arm can be a serious problem. And that's the exact same thing with cortisol. Acute short-term spikes in cortisol are actually really, really good. Long-term rises in cortisol where it stays up for a very long period of time, for days and weeks, that's when we have a concern.